Hi everyone, it's Helen here and thank you for joining me today. So today is part 2 of the slim mini album that I made from last week. So today we're going to be putting these into a slim custom sized traveller's notebook cover. So we're going to be making that from scratch and I'm going to be showing you everything step by step on how to do it, and also there'll be a blog post for this project and I'll leave the link for that down below. It will have all the score lines on there and also some more details on this Crop-A-Dile as well, because we are playing around with some of these settings, so these can be confusing, but I'll make sure that there's a guide on my website for that as well, so the link for that will be down below. Okay, so for the cover we're going to be using, this is like my favorite thing. This is going to come up in loads of my videos. I've been using it really nicely over the last few months as well, so it does pop up every now and then. This is the texture roll from Sizzix and I have this in gold, so let's put that out. There are other colours that you can choose from, including craft cardstock, rose gold, silver. So this one here, it's 12 inches long, sorry, it's 12 inches, let's give you the measurements, it's 12 inches high by 48 inches long. Now I've put this through the washing machine already, so if you've ever used Craftex before, it's kind of like a cardboard fabric that you can wash and it will go through the wash just fine. You can iron it on the back if you're on a medium heat if you need to. You can sew with it, you can glue it, you can cut it with scissors, you can also die cut it as well. As you can see, you can die cut it as well. So this is, I absolutely love this. And if you have a pair of Levi jeans or any other sorts of jeans, if you have that the details and the red inked writing on the back, that is what this stuff is, because it goes through the wash just fine and it kind of looks a bit cardboardy, but it's not. So that is exactly what is on the back of your jeans. So that's a good explanation of what this actually is. Maybe I should have just said that. So anyway, this has been through the wash and I just need to cut this out now. So you can use where's my ruler? I'll put it away. Here we are. You can use a ruler and a craft knife if you want to do it that way. I do have a video on how to cut grey board or chipboard. I will link that down below. Basically it's the same process on how to cut this as well, but I do have the Fiskars paper trimmer here and I absolutely love it, and I can actually cut this with this paper trimmer, so I'll make sure this paper trimmer is also linked down below. So I have been cutting away at this and I am going to have to put another roll through the wash because I do have another project that I want to make this, but I just need to make sure I have a straight edge here and a straight edge there. I don't need my ruler. So I'm thinking that's the wonky edge. We don't want that as part of our project. So in order to stop the confusion, because this has got me a few times, I'm just going to cut that edge off. So now I have two straight edges both sides. So now I'm good to go. So let's give you the measurements. Again, they're going to be listed down below on my website. So it needs to measure 7 1/4 wide by 6 1/4 high. So let's get this done at 7 1/4. Just double check. I always like to double check that I'm cutting right the first time. That's 7 1/4 by 6 1/4. There we go, and I can use that for another project. And if you do get any smaller pieces, you can use it for die cutting. I even tested today's project with an eyelet, so I had to make sure that that worked, and I will be showing you my prototype as well. Okay, so you're going to need a scoreboard for this. You can use a scoreboard with this stuff as well. This is absolutely magic. I absolutely love this stuff. And one thing I did forget to mention is when you wash it, it does shrink by about 1/4 inch. So the height of this is now 11 3/4. That's really bright. So the height of this is now 11 3/4. So it does shrink. So make sure that you wash it first before you cut it to size. So I'm going to see if I can do something about this lighting, because it is super duper bright. Okay, so just for this one I've just dimmed one of my lights, turned it off completely, so it was too dark with both of them off. So with the 7 1/4 along the top, and again, don't worry about writing this down, it's all written down for you on my website. The first mark is at 3 1/4. So make sure you do press quite firmly, but obviously don't try and jam it through so it will go all the way through. 3 3/8. 3 3/4. 4 1/8. Sorry, I'm being a bit slow reading my numbers out here because I don't want to put a wrong score line in. This stuff I don't want to make a mistake on. And 4 1/4. And the great thing about this board, I'll lift it up for you to see in a moment. There we go. It should look something like that. This board has, let's see if I get it to focus. Please, it's a bit bright, but as you can see, well, hopefully you can see, it does show you the 1/8 of an inch. Each section, it tells you what it is. So if you do get confused by all of those score lines when we say 1/8, 2/8 or 3/8, it's got it all here, so you can't get confused. And so 2/8 is 1/4. Okay, so here is my prototype, and I've tested it with the eyelets. We're going to be adding eyelets onto this, so let me just turn my lighting back on, and I might have to turn it down because that is a little bright. It's all fun and games here playing with the lighting. Now that's too dark now. Yep, happy with that, hopefully. Okay, so this is my prototype. I always try to do a quick sample first just to see if my idea is going to work, and I'm happy with that. Okay, so all we have to do now is just score or press through all of these score lines. Now when you have two score lines close together, it can be a bit tricky, but if you kind of just do it, just roll it slightly, it should give you that line. And again, just to make sure that if that you're folding it straight, you can check top and bottom with these two lined up, and then you'll know that you have got it straight, because even when you have a score line, it's still kind of possible to go off a little bit, so it's always worth just checking before you press it down. Okay, and those are all of my score lines done, and you might be able to see it better this side. It's quite invisible, but you might be able to see better on my prototype. Okay, so we're going to be moving, I'm going to leave that way because it's really shiny. Right, so we're going to be moving over to the Crop-A-Dile now. It's pretty dark now, so maybe the sun's gone in. Let's have a bit more light. It's turned over anyway. Okay, so I've had this Crop-A-Dile since around about 2006, and I bought it because of the eyelet setter. Now I used to have the really old-fashioned, not old-fashioned, but like one of the first eyelet setters that came out in the craft industry. So it wasn't like a traditional one like similar to this where it was metal and you'd cut your belts with it, you'd do holes in your belts. There was a special one, and basically I will see if I can find them for you, but I found them. Now here they are. It's better than me trying to explain what these are. Some of you may know what these are. Some of you will be like, what the heck is that? Okay, so these are really old eyelet setters. They've got a spring in the middle, so you can pull them like that, and you let go like that, and that's what makes the hole. So on one side we have the bit that makes the hole there, and then on the other side we have the matching top part that sets the eyelet. Now the force comes, let's find a piece of paper. There we go. So the force comes from boinging. So I used to call these my boingers. So we'd put the hole here and we'd lift up and we'd do that. And apologies if that was really loud, but that would make the hole. And sometimes the hole wouldn't go all the way through, like it hasn't done there. So you'd have to do it again and again, and maybe even a bit harder next time. And now Mr. G, he did not like this, because I used to scrapbook quite late at night, and then there's me back making these big funny noises, and he used to say, yeah, so not fun. So then when I saw this, I'm like, I need that. That's quiet, it's silent, it's quick, it's easy, and I don't have to do any more boinging. But I have kept these. They're kind of nostalgic now, especially with the trouble it caused with Mr. G and late night noises. Okay, so with my Crop-A-Dile, back in 2006, it did come with all of these eyelets, and I've hardly used any of them. Let me show you my metal embellishment box here. So it came with all of these eyelets, and it even came with here it is, lots of different ones. We've got snowflakes and things like that, and it came in a presentation box. Some of you may have got the same one. I'm going to choose green. And again, I've kept the instruction sheet as well, and it's got all the different settings here, because you can change the settings on this. So I will make sure on my website, on this blog page for this project, I will put all of these on there, so you can, if you have the Crop-A-Dile and you don't have this, it's going to be really difficult to tell what setting you're going to need for the eyelets, and they're all different sizes as well. So I'll put that guide on my website down below. So I'm going to choose 6 of these. And make 6 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 more, 6. So now I've done my test piece. Now this is an explanation here of why I've made traveller's notebooks before, and I've traditionally gone for just the 3 lines, but I've added an extra line on the outside of each one, because we've got the eyelets in there and it doesn't want to bend. Normally the score line would be in the middle like that, and it's basically the bending point has been moved out a little bit, and I didn't want it to be kind of awkward around the spine area, so I've added an extra score line to compensate for the eyelet there. So my experiment worked, so I'm happy. Okay, so another great feature is here we have 2 different sized holes. We have the 3/8 of an inch here, which is the larger one, and the 1/8 which is the smaller hole, and along here we have these guides. They slip backwards and forwards, so you can tell it how far you want to punch in. So and you can tighten up with these little knobs here. So that was full. This is around about half, and again it's got these little notches, so you can really measure how far in. I just want this to go just a fraction in. Let's see, there we go. Just needs to be a fraction from the edge, with just enough space for the eyelet. So I'm basically pushing it as far as it will go that way, tightening that up. Nope, that's taking it off completely. Let's put that back in. Okay, so that's on nice and tight now. It is locked, and I've only got 3/8 of an inch. Sorry, this isn't 3/8 of an inch. This hole here measures 3/16 of an inch, so it's 1/8 and a little bit more. And this is actually 3/16 of an inch as well. So as you can see, that's how far from the edge we can go. Right, let's move on to this. So it'll be easier for me to demonstrate where I'm putting my holes here. So I'm going to grab my pencil. So we're going to be putting in the holes on the second score line in, the middle one, and then the second from last. So let's hold that up so you can see the score lines. I'm going to draw the score lines in as well so you can see, because we don't want holes going in the wrong place. Okay, so I've drawn in my score lines. Now that is where you need to put your holes. And it will be really hard to see because it's so shiny, so maybe I will do it the other side. Okay, so I'm using the 3/16 of an inch hole. I've got my setting on the shortest setting, and now I'm about to do my first hole. So we're going to put it onto the second, right in the centre of that second score line, and it does like to stick in there, so just do that and it will fall out. Right, let's do this centre line. This does want to just curl in. Okay, I'm going for the centre, and then the next one, and all of my holes, they're all perfectly lined up. Okay, right, do the same on the other side. You do need to kind of tip that out so you can see the center of the score line. There we go. Right, now we're ready for the eyelets. So I've got mine here. So at the bottom here we have base and we have the top section here. Okay, so the base section, I'm using 3/16 of an inch eyelets. So let's just get the instructions here. Okay, so we have the 3/16 on the top, which is A, and for the base I'm using 3/16 eyelets, so I need number 1, so 1 at the bottom and A at the top. I have that already set. There's tiny little numbers here at the bottom, and then the A is at the top there. Okay, I'm ready to go. So let's do our first eyelet. Pop that in, and then this sticky out bit there, that goes into the top of the eyelet. There, as you can see, I'm ready to go now. And then just press it. Not too hard, but firm enough for it to go through. And that is our first eyelet done. Okay, so I'm just going to check everything on this side, make sure they've all been pressed properly. So I'm happy with that, and again it closes just nicely as well. Okay, so now let's add our elastic bands. Okay, so it's been a while since I've threaded one of these, so I will leave a link to some of my other traveller's notebooks that I've made before. Okay, so for this one I'm going to go through the back bottom hole on the right. I'm going to go up, then I'm going to go round through this hole and then down through that one. And then I'm going to go round and in through the bottom hole on the left, and then I'm going to go down through the top hole and then I'm going to go in through the centre hole like that, and then I'm going to chop this one where it's attached to the roll, so I'll leave a link for this as well down below. I think it's 1mm thick, but 2 might be okay. 3 would definitely be too thick. Okay, so I have a straggler here at the bottom, so we're going to thread that through the centre. So now we're going to tie this in a knot in the centre. Just make sure that we don't have anything that's too loose here, but obviously not so tight, because it will bend like that if it's too tight. All I'm going to do is tie that in a double knot and then trim the excess. Okay, so I now have 4 pieces of elastic, so I can potentially put 4 books in here. I'm not too sure if I'll do that or not, but we can do. So these are the mini albums that I made the other day. So this one was part 1 of this video, and we do have a central page there. So all we need to do is just run these through, and they're going to be held in place just like that. So just make sure that you have all your pockets at the top. Okay, I need to make some inserts for this one. Make sure I have that the right way round. Have I got that upside down? No, it's the right way. Okay, let's pop this one on. And there we have our traveller's notebook. So if you want to round the corners, you can use a corner chomper as well. That's pretty full. So once we add some photos, I may take one of these out actually, and I will have a spare piece of elastic. One of these will be spare, so you can just trim and make a double-sided piece of paper and just cut that to size and have that just on the single piece as well. So I'm going to use my corner chomper now. Okay, so this is the Crop-A-Dile's sister. So this is the corner chomper. Now these are the only 2 gadgets like this that I have. I don't have any of the other ones, although I'm very tempted. Okay, so this one has a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch, and it comes out just like that. It's basically a hardcore version of one of these corner rounders. This one will go through 1 piece of card, whereas this will go through chipboard, greyboard, and multiple pieces of paper, and it will also go through this texture roll as well. So I'm going to go for the 1/4 inch because it is a very small. It's going to be smaller than the 1/2 inch one. Press that down. There we go. We now have a very tidy rounded corner. And if you don't get it the first time round, you can just turn over your piece of card and do it the other side. But that mostly happens with the 1/2 inch side, but I'll show you in a moment on a piece of card. There we go. So that now looks very nice and neat, oops, and tidy. So let's just show you the 1/2 inch side. There we go. Sometimes you don't get a fully rounded corner and it can be a bit annoying, so all you have to do to fix that is turn it over and do it again, and then you have a perfectly round corner. So that's a little tip for the 1/2 inch side, but it looks like the 1/4 inch works really well. Okay, so now I want to have an elastic that's attached to the center here as a belly band, just to keep this closed because it's already like a crocodile's mouth. So you're going to need a paper piercer for this. I just head-butted the microphone. I might lift it up a bit. Okay, so sorry if that made a noise. So I'm going to find the center here and then poke a hole right through the center hole. This is way too in there to use the Crop-A-Dile for that, otherwise I would. I might need the big bite actually, that would probably work. That is on my wish list. The big bite is like the Crop-A-Dile, but it's got a longer reach. So I've just turned that in half. And I'm going to just feed this through. You may need to use your paper piercer there just to help you get it through. There we go. And I am going to guesstimate here on my knot. Just going to tighten a knot just like that. Just there. I'm not going to cut any excess off, I'm going to test it. That seems okay because I am going to fill small things on there, so it has got a nice bit of stretch and give. It's not too tight, it's not too loose, it's just right. So I'm just going to find my knot again, it's got hidden. I'm now going to pull that tight, trim that off, and that is our traveller's notebook ready to go. And if you want to, you can add little pockets and things on here. You can mat it with the matching papers. Now these papers are from Violet Studios, and I will have that linked down below as well. And that is a tiny and cute traveller's notebook. Now that's going to be perfect for taking with you. If you have like a mini printer as well, that would be perfect. Again, it's got little pockets there for you to put your tickets in. You can create pockets as well for things, you know. It's not it's a lovely fun little album, so it hasn't got all of those pages. If you prefer the pages, you can make one for this size as well with this tiny little booklets. Okay, so that is today's tutorial. All the information will be on my website. The link will be down below. That will take you straight to this blog page where you've got all the sizes. You have the We're Memory Keepers Crop-A-Dile guide, and this video will be on there too. So everything is in the one place for you. So if you like this one, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon.